Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Between the Arcs. I am your host for tonight, Flanders, and I'm here with Silver Top Hurls. Hurls, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm looking forward to tonight. We've got control. We've been given some parameters to work within. Horses made sure we've got a few little rules, but in the most part, we can do whatever we want. This is good.
I know you let us out of the cage, mate, and gave us free reign. It's a risky business doing that with you and I, mate. We'll
Oh
keep it
no,
under 7 hours for people and make sure people get to bed.
all good, all good.
Now,
I'm
we
sure we will.
will make sure we put this up for you guys, and it's pretty interesting. I know when I put this to you earlier on in the week, mate, and said, hey, let's do something about structures because there's a lot of different structures that go around. And it's a very interesting thing to how you structure your team up. Rookies determine structure. I'm a big believer in that there, but how you
Yeah.
structure, the names can change a bit throughout that. But it's a key thing there. And I think I'm just finishing watching the Brisbane Carlton game at the moment here. And who was back in defense there, mate? It was Brisbane.
For Carlton or Brisbane?
Brisbane. It was
Oh,
the young
Brisbane.
Nick McCarthy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I caught bits and pieces. I didn't watch the whole game today, I must admit. I've only saw little bits and pieces. But yeah, it looked like McCarthy played back. Kitty Coleman was half forward rolling up, which I didn't love. If you're interested in him, it's only the first game, but at the moment I don't love that role. For Carlton, there was Dirksen played full back, who was the ex-GWS bloke who hasn't played a game yet, who looked okay. And then, I mean, the world's gone mad and Jagger Smith is sort of the next coming of Jesus Christ by the looks of it. But
he's getting the Brownlow. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. He looked good, and we all knew that he would. Let's be honest. And I think the other one, which we might talk about in one of our structures a little later, can we possibly play Liam Reedy? He just doesn't look like an AFL footballer, does he?
He doesn't, and Shitnet's taken plenty of those ruck contests as well, so a bit of an interesting one to look at here. Looking at this, we have a Carlton shot for goal, 7 points up, and 2 minutes left in a clock that's counting. I reckon that Carlton are going for the premiership, mate, because they're going to beat the reigning two-time premiers. So, thoughts on Carlton premierships? That is
Carlton always love February. Like they used to be the Wizard Cup kings for those old enough to remember what that was. And then Wizard Cup premiership 1 week, wooden spoon the week after. So we love them winning in February.
It is. They are getting around, and they're going to take the win here. So, but we are going to get off preseason stuff. We will have plenty of episodes for that coming for you guys here. What we are going to go through today is we are going through structures and how you structure your team up. So we're going to bring up and we're going to go through. There's about half a dozen team structures here, and the key thing to look at when we're doing this is we're looking at the brackets people fit into. So there'll be primos, mid-prices, and rookies. You can break it down further to like elevated rookies and stuff like that, but we're not going to go that deep into it. We're going to look at a few different ways you can structure your whole team and what benefits, pros, and cons you get out of them. Try some wild ones, try some pretty generic, conventional ones, and just talk about the pros and cons of it, because you pretty much commit to a structure at some point, and doing a mid-season restructure is inconvenient, to say the least, Hurls.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to tonight. We were talking about this when we were thinking about running this pod in particular. I think whether you're a really seasoned campaigner in SuperCoach or whether you're brand new, you get a little bit out of tonight. And so what I'd suggest to people watching, forget the names of primos that we're talking about. Like what we're trying to convey tonight is what are the ways that you structure up your team. And by structure, we mean where do you place your rookies? You know, do you over-index on certain lines with rookies? You said right off the top, which I am a firm believer in as well, rookies dictate structure. So we do have to sort of, you know, let the next 2 or 3 weeks play out before we commit to a structure, because I think we haven't seen enough yet of all of our rookies to know which structure of these ones we're about to show is the best. But it can help people as they're watching these practice matches over the next couple of weeks, just look for where are these rookies going to be found, and do I over subscribe to defender rookies? Do I go a bit shorter there and go harder in my forward line? Because that will then dictate obviously where you place your primos. And so tonight's more about the cash gen, but obviously the secondary part to where you put your rookies is that tells you where you put your primos as well.
Exactly. So yeah, look less about the names, more about what positions we've got, where the rookies are, where the primos are, and we're going to talk just about a few options here. There's one I have. Hers will have one that he'll pick, and I'll have one that I'll pick. It's probably going to be a bit different here, and we're going to see what we like. There's some here that are just ugly and I don't like at all, but it was good fun building these. I built these this afternoon, and I really enjoyed building them to see a lot of different ways to see if I'm picking the right way, which I'm not even sold on anymore.
Yeah,
But
and I think the other good thing, Flanders, and I say this a lot, and I have to remind myself sometimes when I'm arguing with someone on Twitter in particular about a certain player or whatever, like there is no one way to play Supercoach.
nope.
There's you can fade whoever you like, or you can back in whoever you like, and just because 90% of the community agrees or disagrees with you doesn't make it right. So I think the beauty of this kind of episode is you can look at these 6 or so structures we're going to talk about, and you might hate some of them, and that is okay. And you might love a different one, and that is okay too. I think that's the beauty of what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to go through probably one of the most cookie cutter ones, and this is a Supercoach staple for many, many years here. And this is going to be the guns and rookies. You basically load up on top end guys and basement rookies. And don't have to be basement, but they're going to be your cheap rookies to purely make money here. So when we look at the defense line, we have 3 primos, we have 3 defenders on field. The bench is always going to be full of rookies. And for tonight, I've put a rookie in the flex position, so we can just disregard it. It's always going to be a rookie in there. Your midfielder, in this case, we've got 4 midfield primos. We have 1 mid-pricer here. So in this case, it's Hayden Young, but you could easily interchange that with a Darcy Parish, Langford, whoever tickled your fancy. And then 3 rookies to fill out M6 through to 8. In this case, we have the 2 gun rucks, Gorn and Sherry, proven history there. And if you were going other guns, you're just spending up and paying money. That's the top end guys.
Yeah.
And then in the forward line here, Sheasel, Petrarca, which basically is 2. Flanders is going to be given as a primo here. And then 3 rookies as well. So it's pretty evenly split 50-50 on field of guns versus rookies.
Yeah. And what you find with this type of structure, and I must admit, I'm leaning a little bit towards guns and rookies this year, more so than other years in the last few. I'm probably going to play maybe a couple of mid prices in this team that people are seeing. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's really the only mid pricer we've got in this lineup is Hayden Young. So it's a real traditional guns and rooks. The advantage of this is if you count the primos, you'll probably get to about 12. So you got 3 in defense, 4 midfield, 2 ruck, and 3 forward. So you're spreading those 12 across the field. You can also spend a little bit more cash on your primos. So you've got, you've basically got the top 3 defenders, D1, D2, D3 from last year. You've got everyone but Bont, really. You've got, some expensive ones. You've got the 2 highest rucks. You've got 3 pretty solid, who we would consider Flanders as a primo this year. You've got 3 pretty solid top 6 forwards. So the one pro of this type of structure is you get to pick some really, really good primos.
Yeah. And you do, and you get the big scores because you aren't compromising quality here. You are picking utter quality and pure cash gen, and you aren't skimping anywhere. You aren't buying the upside of somebody. You're buying history, and you're buying proven history here. And that's what you want. And that's how Guns and Rookies works. And over many seasons, it's worked out really well. So if you want a good, safe, easy to manage, basic build to go with to put yourself in a good position for the year, this is the way to go. Couldn't steer anybody away from this one. We will kick into our next option here.
What about downsides, mate? Anything we should call out of like a risk of this structure?
You do miss out on the guys that have had role changes throughout like last season, this season. A lot of the injury guys who've got injury downsides. Like we have Hayden Young in this team, but Darcy Parish is coming back from some injury here. You do miss out on the likes of say Bergman. You do miss out on the likes of McKercher here, Trelaw, we've looked at as well. You are compromising those guys that could make $100,000, and you may never trade them out in some cases. So McKercher could go from 450 to 550, and if he proves that he's got the right role there, you've saved $100,000 and you're getting a top line defender. So there is downsides to it, but it is the safest and easiest build to make.
Yeah, probably the other one to call out is just you do really need to to bridge big gaps. So one of the things we'll talk about when we talk mid prices in a moment, when you've got these mid prices, the gaps to the fallen primos isn't very large. In a guns and rooks traditional like this, you can see, except for Hayden Young, all the other starting points are 130 grand or 140 grand max. So for them to go up 150, they're only going to go to 280, 290. And then your fallen primos still at 550. You've still got a big gap. So there is a heavy reliance in a lot of your rookies doing the right thing. So just keep that in mind if you are going this way. The cash gen is all coming from your rookies.
Exactly. Yeah, rookie cash gen is the biggest thing that holds this back. So again, excuse the names that are in here. If you like a Rosie over a Whitfield, if you like a Sarong over a Brayshaw, you can interchange those names easy as in what we're going to review tonight. You can just swap these names out, but it's about the structure of primo, mid-price, rookie, and the balance between the two. So this is, for argument's sake, it's a 3-3, defender, rookie, forward and defender, with 4 primo midfielders and 3 rookies with a mid. So that's what it's going to be.
Love it.
This is the next one here, mate. And this is the one that I think all of us wish we had the balls to go out and build. And this is mid-price madness. You will still have a couple of top-end guys here, but you are going to go out and buy huge upside guys. And I think when every one of us built our very first team back in however long ago it was, and we went, how cool are these names? And we put in all the names that we love. This is how we got the most names to love. But when you look at this, we've piled in 4 what could be primos in the defensive line. The upside of Kitty Coleman here of an elevated price rookie, and then 1 rookie on field. In the midfield, we've been able to somehow work our way here to 6 what could be high scoring midfielders with just the 2 rookies. You're still getting, top end rucks that are still going to prove value, but have more chance to grow rather than drop in price. And then this forward line is just stacked. There is, you're talking Mateus Filippo at F6. I don't even think I've been able to build that in my head throughout the season. And in this one, I actually did jam Harry Sheasel in the flex. So, the only one.
This is actually one where when I see this on the screen, I always wish I had the guts to go this way. I like, because we all talk about a really important thing in SuperCoach is getting the rookies off the field. And if you look at the previous setup with Guns and Rooks, we had 10 rookies on the field. In this setup, we have Lindsay, Brody, Smith, that's 3, and Philip, who is, so we've got 4 rookies only.
Yeah, 4 rookies on the field.
The advantage of this is you are spreading your points across far more players. You probably still want to go in this structure. I would highly recommend you still go 1 or maybe 2 of the captaincy options. So you might, if you consider Tim English in this structure a captaincy option, you could go that way, or a Sheasel. But I would probably personally, even if I went this structure, I'd still pick a Butters or a Bont just to have that really safe C. But the beauty of this structure and the advantage of going mid-price madness is you're relying less on these 18-year-olds who come in and might get dropped in 2 weeks, or they might drop a 30 or a 40, and you're spreading your points across far more players. So that is the advantage.
And if we look at the upside here, like we all talk about it preseason, and having a mid-price team in the preseason, you can see every one of you guys going 120 for the year, no questions. Like Harvey Langford's going to break out in that midfield. Hayden Young, there's no reason he can't go 100 plus. Harley Reid's the future, former #1 pick. He's going to be the future at West Coast. Darcy Parish will get back to his previous form. Trelaw's a great midfielder. Kerno's at Sydney. He's going to kick bags on bags. Like nobody can fail until round 1. And then in round 1, when about 6 of them go wrong and you have 3 trades with a boost, it gets a bit messy.
I did have PTSD just seeing Charlie Curno's name. It took me a while to find it because he's in a Sydney jumper instead of a Carlton one, but that gave me PTSD. I think you're right. I think if you got, let's put out a bold statement. If you got all of these right, this is a structure that can win you SuperCoach. But your chances of getting all of these right is bloody slim. And what happens is SuperCoach is often about the story we tell ourselves. So we convince ourselves that the bloke we're picking can't lose. You know, you can't fade Sherry because he's playing 6 duds over the first 6 weeks, or you can't fade Bont because he's the best and he's not going to ever go below 680,000. Equally, the guy next to us playing SuperCoach might have in his head, you have to fade Sherry because the ruck's going to drop, 100,000 this year, or you have to fade Bont because you can't pay 708,000 for a keeper. So whichever story you tell yourself in the preseason is always right. Yep. And the trouble is, like you said, when you get to round 1, round 2, round 3, you start realizing that your story isn't always right, and that's when you go, oh shit, what do I do now?
Correct. And in all due respect, I hate about 7 or 8 of these picks that I put in this team. It hurt me to put in there. But by the same token, I could give you a story on why every single one of these mid-price picks is going to be $500,000 or more. I can tell you a story pretty simply of the reasons why. I didn't pick them for the fun of it. I went off. A lot of this is just most owned guys just to put names in here. But I can tell you a story why every mid-pricer will succeed. I can also give you an exact reason why they're all going to fail too. And when you play enough 50-50 guesses, Mum was a big advocate of that you can only buy so many tickets for the lottery. And yes, when you buy so many tickets for the lottery, some of these are going to boom, correct, but plenty of them are going to bust.
So, yeah. And I think just a slight difference for those out there who might be fantasy players and new to SuperCoach and just tuning in. This type of team, this type of approach is really, really popular in the fantasy game, more than SuperCoach. In SuperCoach, because historically, and I'm talking a fair while ago now, we had 20 trades in SuperCoach. So you couldn't play this type of strategy. It just wasn't possible. You didn't have enough trades. Now that we've got 40, you can take some more risks. So I think it is possible to take some risks on mid prices. I wouldn't advise that you take this many. Personally, I think this many is too many, because what you'll find is for every one you get right, you'll probably get one wrong, and you'll run out of trades correcting your whole team and chasing your tail. If those of you who started Harry Perryman like me last year, that was a complete disaster. He would have fit beautifully into this approach. Yep. And we all told ourselves the story about he's going to play midfield. He's got a new role at Collingwood. It took 3 or 4 weeks for him to be punted to the back flank. He didn't do what we wanted him to do. And then you had to try to get off him onto someone else. And so that's okay if you're starting 4 mid prices, because you can make some correction trades along the way, and 40 trades, you can do that. But if you're starting, however many are in this team, maybe 15 or 16 mid prices, you haven't got those trades up your sleeve to correct that many.
Yeah, I think a pretty common and safe bet that most people, like the rule of thumb you could go with, is 1 in defense, 2 in midfield, and 1 in the forward line. And that's how a lot of people are doing. McKercher's pretty common in defensive lines. You obviously got the Hayden Young, Darcy Parish in the midfield line, and Treloar was a pretty common one. Brent Daniels has been thrown around, but any of those guys in the forward line, they're the other options that are being used. Joel Frazier, someone more recently.
Frazier maybe now, instead of Treloar, because
Frazier, Laylor, those sort of guys there. You can manage that out. So it's an interesting one to look at. And
what I'd highly recommend for those of you out there, and you didn't hear this from me, all right, but if you're out there and you've got, a partner who doesn't play and you want to tinker with a different structure to see what it looks like, set up a team in their name and put one like this. And it doesn't hurt, because you're not putting it in any of your leagues, and you're not, doing it. It's not your real team. And this is the kind of one to really experiment with, this kind of structure, and see how you go. How many of these mid prices you get right will determine whether it goes well or it goes terribly.
Exactly. Mate, this is another one that I like toying here. So we've gone through the 2 main ones, which is guns and rookies versus mid prices. And there's a hybrid between the 2 where you can blur them. This is now where we start looking at where the rookies come in, where if we get a brilliant batch of forward rookies or a brilliant batch of defensive rookies, this is what we're going to start looking at, where we load up different lines. This one here is a very defender-heavy line here. So we are running 4 primos, a high elevated mid-pricer, so you could probably call it 5 primos for argument's sake here, and a rookie pricing Coleman. Then, that's defensive line covered. If you don't think the defenders are that strong, you can load that up, know the line you want to cover there. And then after that, you're buying the same amount of midfielders you would normally buy in most purchases, but then you are going very, very lean on a forward line here, where we are running technically no primos, but Flanders will be considered a primo for this episode. And then you are running 5 rookies. Your rookies on field end up being equivalent. There's no difference here. You're just moving where you've spent your money and moving money out of the forward line into the defensive line because you think there's more forward rookies than defensive rookies.
Yeah, and we say all the time that rookies dictate structure. This is exactly what we mean. So in our first team where we went guns and rooks, so ignore the mid-price madness for a minute because that was spreading your whole cash. When you go any kind of guns and rooks or hybrid, you're trying to get a team that has somewhere between 7 rookies on field and 10 rookies on field, roughly. That's sort of depending on where you choose to spend your cash. That's what we're looking at. So in this structure, you've still got 10 rookies on field. But why you would go this way is you're saying when we see the preseason over the next 2 weeks, you might go this structure if you loved the forward rookies.
Yeah.
And you hated the defensive rookies. That's exactly how you would then position it because you're now relying on Philippou, Marshall, Draper, Lombard, Robertson, McRae, and Kickett. Don't worry about the names so much now. Just if you could rely on that many forward rookies to generate scores of, let's call it 60 and above, because you want all your rookies to be scoring at least 60, and you probably want some of them to be scoring 75. But if all of your rookies scored 60 and above, and you thought that 7 of them in the forward line presented themselves, that's when this kind of structure would be a viable one. And the alternative is you might look at it and say, oh, I hate the defensive rookies. They're all junk. So I want to make sure that I don't expose myself in the defense. And in this team, you've only got 1. So it's just positioning. A lot of people talk about where do you position your keepers. I think that's important, but I think it's more important where you position your rookies. Because in the first half of the year, and I say this a lot, there's really 3 things that separate the high-scoring teams from the mediocre teams. Your spike scoring primos, and we spend far too much time analyzing primos. I think that is probably over-indexed. Your rookies and what they score is the next thing that separate. And I remember 2 years ago when I had my best year, I had Sam Darcy scoring 90s as a rookie, and the people who were, and I was going really well, and the people who were going shit, they had F6 as some, Muppet scoring 30, and I'm getting F6 scoring 90. That's huge when you've got a big discrepancy like that. And the third one being your VC and C choices. So where you position your rookies should always dictate which structure you go, even if it means I'm having to now go 1 less primo in this line versus the other line because I trust the rookies more.
Exactly. And when you look at certain lines, forwards average less than defenders average less than midfielders. And in typical years, in years past, midfielders average less than rucks. So you had different price brackets of primos. So you wouldn't get the same amount of points for your money spent across all lines. So there is a shift there. But from a primos across everything, it's just something to consider. This year is a big problem. I'm having a look at some ownership numbers here. And the forward rookies don't really look that great. Dev Robertson's had some questions raised over his job security. Todd Marshall's looking good. Sid Draper's got a groin issue that's outstanding. Lombard's playing like half forward wing, which is nice. After that, we go to Jamara at like 214. Cooper Duff Tyler. Leon Kickett after that. Lockie Doverston. Sullivan Roby. Zane Dersma. Like, of rookie price guys, the rookies don't seem as strong in the forward line this year. And we can see a lot of things over the preseason, though.
The one thing that I'm really nervous about, like I've been saying to anyone who'll listen for the last 2 weeks, I wish I could start 4 rookies forward. That's when I look at how my team's structured, I would love to. But at the moment, I'm too nervous that we're even counting Philippou and Marshall as these like reliable guys, and they're just not. Yes, Marshall's gone back, but we haven't really seen it in real games yet. And yes, Philippou could be okay, but he hasn't been reliable over the last 2 years, which is why he's 170K. So, I don't know if we can trust the forward rookies yet, and that's why it's a bit of a challenge.
In my opinion, I feel like this is one of the best structures this year if you can make it. Making it work is the issue here. So there's a lot of downside of if your forward rookies don't make the same money that you would have with a more balanced team, it's just going to go nowhere. But we just don't have any quality here. And that's what it comes down to. It's quality, not quantity. I know I mentioned here, there's more DPP in forwards than any other position. That is correct. But it doesn't mean they're good. It just means they've been given it.
And I think one thing I've noticed this year is there's no DPP forward rookies. That's the problem. There are a lot of DPP forwards
there's actually
at the premium level. Oh, there's some, but they're not playing. Like you've got Sid Draper.
37 forward versus 18 defender. But the 18 defenders are the likes of Zeke Euland, Grill, Farrow, Carmichael's in there, Harry
Yeah.
Kyle. Like, these are names that we like the idea of picking. The forward
That's
rookies
what
are
I mean.
nowhere near nice.
That's what I mean. I haven't got one in my team that I look as a forward mid rookie that I say I reckon they're definitely starting round one. There's a couple of maybes, but there's none that I could say definitely are playing. Not yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like this is the best structure if it can work, but keep an eye out if it can work. On to the next one here, mate. We flip the table here. And we go the other way around. We load up the forward line here. This is the one that I feel is more likely going to work. We are looking at one primo defender here, and then we're basically into Kitty Coleman Price, and then it's pure rookies after that point there. 4 rookies on field plus Coleman, so it's effectively 5 from a price point of view here. Midfielders, same sort of structure here. We're 5 primos, so slightly more, but 5 primos at mid price and 2 rookies. 2 rucks again at full price. And then you're loading up on primo forwards. So this one has what we're going to call 4 forward primos, 2 rookies on field, and then we have a flex that is a rookie as well. So this is where you start looking at the likes of Zave Taylor, Grill, Euland, Carmichael when he was fit. Sarong's out there. Lindsay's in this team as well. These guys that you trust are going to have good roles that can score well. That's where these guys are going to go off, and that's what you're banking on is forwards. Forward rookies suck. Defender rookies are where you're going to make your money, and you just have to load up on them.
Yeah. And this is where I'm going to contradict our theory just a little bit. The rookies in defense do look a little bit safer, I think. So in my current team, for example, I've got 3 on field, whereas in the forward line, I don't even know if I can trust 3, even though I have 3 in both at the moment. I think that your problem with stacking your forward line full of primos is you're missing out on primo points in the back line. And our backline primos are more reliable. And so, for example, let's say Rankin, Petrarca, Pickett, and Flanders all do 95 to 100. That's where we roughly see our primo forwards go. And we have Sheasel in the midfield in this structure, so we're leaving him out of this conversation for a minute because he's still there, but he's in the midfield. But those 4 that we've got, they might be capped at 90 to 100. Whereas when you start doing it the other way in the previous team, and you're talking about Nass, you're talking about Rosie, you're talking about Whitfield, you're now talking about 105 to 110s. So you're starting to get a bit of an imbalance. So as you're looking at this, we're not trying to sell you on doing it this heavy in any line. We're just showing you how you might look at different rookies in different places. Probably the right answer is to balance it a bit more anyway and have, a bit more of a balance across the 2 lines.
Yep. This is just the complete opposite of what we were looking at here. And this is the extreme of it. You could never pay me to start 1 primo defender. I don't care how good the rookies look. 1 primo defender is just not justifiable in this case. There's actually 3 mid-eligible rookies here. Couldn't get me to go that far. This is the same as what we were just looking at, which we obviously spoke about in depth. So it's pretty much exactly what we spoke about. Just flip it around, flip it to the other end. This is what I don't mind the idea of, and this leans perfectly on your point you had here, Hurls. Forwards score poorly, defenders score better, but who scores the best? Midfielders. This team here has a primo defender and the same rookies. We've leaned out the forward line, so it's just 2 primos and then 4 rookies. We still have 2 primo rucks, but we are rocking 7 primo midfielders and Hayden Young. You're going to get points out of this. I can tell you that much.
You will. This is a really interesting one, and I have toyed with, not this heavy, but I have toyed with a heavier midfield this year. The thing that I always keep reminding myself is, yes, primo mids score well, but so do rookie mids. And so don't forget that usually your most reliable rookies are also midfielders. So Jagger Smith, Dyson Sharp, I was going to say Annabelle, but he looked average today, but let's forget the practice match. Maybe someone like him, Euland, Farrow, Reshko, Grill, these are all eligible in the midfield. I know you can put some of them in the other lines, but if you don't put enough of these reliable rookie midfielders in your team, then you might be going against some other teams that have better rookies, and your cash gen might hurt. This will be good for your primo midfield scoring for sure, and it does look great when you go, bloody hell, how am I going to get I'm going to have Ashcroft at M7. This is going to be a huge scoring, round one.
Yep.
And it might be, but your cash gen might hurt because of it, because you're relying on less reliable rookies potentially.
Yeah, I'm having a look at some numbers I did on last season and price rises by the end of round 8. And you're talking the likes of Sam Davidson's in here, Ned Long, Levi Ashcroft, Murphy Reed, Max Hall. Like, these are all mid guys, and they had midfield roles. So that's where a lot of your money's made. We're looking at the likes of Will Brodie, Jagger Smith here, Smiley, if he can get fit. Like, these are guys that they're proven and they're going to score really, really well. So I love the idea of this, but you do need to, it's always a hard thing to decide what it is here. And we're showing the most extreme examples. But it is one of those things to factor in if that's the most extreme and finding a balance between everything we got here.
Yeah. Again, if you could trust, how many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defender rookies and 4 forward rookies. If they were reliable, if you said to me, I will guarantee you this year, all of those blokes average 60 and above, happy days. I'd load up on this type of structure, but I wouldn't trust that they're all going to average enough to make this work.
Yeah, for sure. The other part is here, when you're committing this far to midfield primos as well, we always want to have the top 8 to top 10 midfield primos. You are locked in to 7 of the 8 now. If Will Ashcroft is M14, you're not going to use a trade out of him. If Errol Gordon somehow becomes M18, like, you're just stuck. Like, you can't see who's going to roll mediocre. Exactly. You end up with mediocrity.
Yeah, you do, because you're relying on your crystal ball gazing at the start of the year being too accurate. Like, I think when you're doing your M1 to M8 calculations, most people are going to get 4 of them right.
Yep.
But the chance of getting 7 of them right becomes limited. And I think your example is a really good one. If someone like an Ashcroft is going well enough to not be a headache, and in this kind of structure, you're probably going to have headaches elsewhere, you're probably going to keep him. And then at the end of the year, if you run out of trades, you're stuck. You're not going to move them on. So, that's the problem.
No. Complacency will kill you at that point there.
Yeah.
We had Sarong defender here, which is nice. You could have at least swung him out. This is the last one that's going around, and I want your opinion on it, mate, because I've toyed with it and I bowed out of it because I'm a sook. We have gone basement price double ruck. McAndrew and Edwards, who look like they could be out here to pick up ruck roles, they're going to score nowhere near what primo rucks are going to be here. And if you expect ruck prices is going to drop in players, and 700 grand is going to become 600 grand for these guys, well, these guys can't lose $100,000. So that gives you the option there. It also gives you a crap load of money to spend elsewhere. I was just having a field day spending money on this team.
Yeah. The pro of doing this is you are putting 12 primos all over the field other than ruck, and you're still able to afford, how many you got? Two or so mid prices as well. So you're actually, it is a good economical approach. Here's where, and I'm probably a conservative super coach player. I don't love this notion of you have to go searching for pods. Some players out there, and if you're a pod hunter, we've got some great pod hunters in our community. All power to them. If that's how you like playing, do it. Go for your life. I would never trust both ruck spots to be rookies like this.
Yep.
I personally probably won't even trust either ruck spots. I've seen a few going around this week after one practice game saying, well, Meek was shit, so let's put Reeves in at R1 and let's go McAndrew at R2 because apparently he killed Rob in a trial game, and then let's go Reedy or Edwards at R3. Yes, that's only, I think the maths comes out to that's 3 spots, 480K, something like that. So yes, you've got money to spend everywhere else, but I'm a bit more conservative than that. I just don't see an escape plan when 2 weeks into the season, McAndrew gets killed and Rob comes back because they go, well, at least Rob's reliable, and Mitchell goes from, we had 2 rucks, but that's not working, so let's punt Ned Reeves again and go back to Meek because he was good for us last year. And all of a sudden, your 2 rucks are gone, and Reedy, if you're relying on Reedy, you're in a world of pain. So I couldn't do this. I think there is a school of thought this year which I can understand, to punt R2.
Yep.
So if you wanted to go a primo, one of the top 6 in R1, and then go a rookie priced McAndrew in R2, I can see that that's something people will experiment with, and it could work. It's not my style, but I think it could work. The other one would be Dante Vicentini if he shows up at 300K, and people might go that instead of Meek. So there's a few. This year's the year to experiment with rucks.
Yep.
It's not my style, though, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it's summed up pretty well here. We have Ned Moyle flashbacks going on. It's the joys of picking rucks with no DPP and only one bench spot. It's the joys of it. And if you want to take a risk here, this is the risky team. It allows you to buy into, like, no other position has had as many changes as the rucks have. Between them not waiting for ball ups, between the jump rule, between no throw-ins between the arcs, they've had the biggest amount of change. So there's the most uncertainty there. So if you want to take out the uncertainty, you can go this way, and you put certainty in the other positions here. This runs basically 4 primo defenders and a mid-pricer. You run 5 primo midfielders here and a mid-pricer, and you're running effectively 5. You're running 3 primo forwards as well. So you're still stacking up on the same primo count here. You're just buying them in different positions, and we've always known rucks are set and forget. This allows you to wait and see who gets the most benefit out of the rules. Is it Jackson? Is it English? Is it Cameron? Is it Gorn? Is it Sherry? Like, who you get to watch with this and not cost you money.
My advice would be on this one: if you're that way inclined, and I hate the ruck line this year, so I don't mind it. I would, if McAndrew gets the Crows ruck spot, if he's the ruck round 1, I would encourage people who are thinking this way to punt R2, put McAndrew R2. You have to get 5 or 6 weeks out of him because your escape plan requires it. You have to get through the buys with him still in the team. You have to then hope that he can be a stepping stone to someone else like Nick Bryan from Essendon if he comes back in round 5 or 6 to be the next stepping stone. Yeah, Draper maybe, and then the next stepping stone to the Fulham Primo. So if you get that, if all of that lines up, it can work. I'm not trying to talk anyone out of it. But I would probably, anyone who asks for my opinion anyway, I would talk you out of 2 ruck positions being punted. Punt 1 if you're a bit of a risk taker. Don't punt both.
Yep. You're always a big risk. You're always a big person to give us your opinion, mate. We always appreciate that in the community. You're very active in the Discord. So make sure you guys come over, join our Discord, join the Patreon. Our link will be below. Come over, join in, jump in. You get access to Hurls, myself, Horse, Deadly, the whole 9 yards. Deadly pulls the night shift and looks like he's going to be running a half marathon at the end of the year. So just keep an eye out for that there. So that'll be very exciting times. And come join the Patreon. It's a great time to chat. I started as a Patreon member and ended up here, mate, talking with you guys. So it's always good time.
That's where we do our best recruiting from.
Oh, exactly, mate. Exactly. We have gone through 6 different structures, mate. Guns and rookies. We've also gone through mid prices. We've gone through a loaded defense. We've gone through a loaded forward line. We went through a loaded midfield, and we also went through a bare ruck budget option there. Is there any of these that you didn't like coming into it that you do like?
The one that it always sort of makes me envious is the mid-price madness. I would love to try that one year. But I just don't have the guts to do it, I'll be honest. And I know there's people in our community who will go that way because they love playing SuperCoach that way. And I think that's got to be the thing to remember. How do you like to play, and what do you do? Like my team this year, more so than most years, is getting back to real genuine guns and rooks. I don't know why I'm necessarily going that way, but I think this year I'll probably only start maybe 2 mid prices, maybe 3 at most. And in previous years, I've probably been much more of a hybrid. I've probably gone 5 mid prices in my starting team in previous years. This year, I don't love the mid prices across the park. And I think I'm going to lean more to guns and rooks personally.
For sure, mate. Well, it's been great to have your expert opinion on here. You are a big structures guy. You understand how a lot of this works, and you have made sure to tell us about it in the chats, and we appreciate that there. So, guys, it's been a pleasure being here, talking about everything that is going on with structures this year. Things are going to change. Good to see what happens with the rookies throughout the preseason and then round 0. We're going to head off. We're going to chat to you guys later, but tune in for the rest of the week as we have plenty more podcasts coming your way. Peace.